Fever pull it out by 1 point. It was an ugly, ugly game at times for the Indiana Fever, but they got the win. They needed this win. They were trying to avoid being swept by the Sparks.
Caitlin Clark didn't hold back after that wild finish in LA. Odyssey Sims nailed the dagger. Aaliyah Boston dominated the paint. And the Fever turned a sloppy battle into a gritty win over the Sparks. Ugly? No doubt. But a win? Oh, absolutely.
Fever dub! Bow, bow, bow! Hell yeah!
The reaction said it all, loud, proud, and just a little spicy. Year 2, and the bar is set higher now. What was your favorite moment? Odyssey's clutch 3, Boston's bullet ball in the paint, or Clark's fiery post-game energy. Let's be real, this game felt like it was stitched together with duct tape and way too much caffeine. The second quarter dragged. The third, even worse. Both squads missed easy looks at a rate that should be illegal in a pro arena. But when it counted, Odyssey Sims became the grown-up in the room, Aaliyah Boston turned into a human forklift, and the Fever walked out of LA with a 1-point win that felt more like 10.
We're a good group, like from the coaching staff to the ownership to my teammates. Like everybody is so genuine. Everybody pours into each other more than I've ever seen on any other team I've ever been on. And that's
start with Odyssey, because good Lord, she earned it. When the scoreboard showed 74-71 and the air in the arena toned heavy, she didn't flinch. Catch, rise, splash. That 3 wasn't pretty, it was ice cold. And later, she barreled downhill, kissed it off the glass, and dropped the kind of asterisk no yes asterisk bucket that silences a crowd in seconds. You could feel the lift she gave them even on a night her shot stayed quiet.
Kick out Sims. Sims in the paint. The runner good.
Say whatever you...
Kelsey Mitchell. Off night. It happens. When your go-to scorer runs cold, somebody else has to light the spark. Sims did. And no, that doesn't mean Kelsey and Odyssey can't coexist. They are cut from the same cloth. Relentless guards who thrive in attack mode. Some nights, it's Kelsey. Tonight, it was Odyssey. That back-and-forth rhythm can feel clunky, but on a night when even layups refuse to fall, you take whichever possession ends with the ball slipping clean through the net. Now Aaliyah Boston opened with 5 shots that clanged like a drum line. After that, 11 of 13, and a full-grown takeover, 22 points, 11 boards, 4 assists, and enough bruising blows to turn the Sparks' front line into helpless bystanders. She carved space deep. She finished through arms and bodies. She hunted rebounds like a metal detector sweeping the shore. That's the version the Fever crave every single night. Ruthless, commanding, and insulted by single coverage. When Boston lays the foundation, everything else finds order. The box-outs tighten. The rotations snap. The floor finally stretches. And Lexi Hull deserves her credit. 2 black eyes and still closing hard, still slashing, still throwing hands in passing lanes.
group, like from the coaching staff to the ownership to my teammates. Like everybody is so genuine. Everybody pours into each other more than I've ever seen on any other team I've ever been on. And that speaks.
That charge she nearly got tagged with turned into a massive challenge from Stephanie White. She won the review, kept a starter on the floor, and flipped momentum exactly when it mattered. Credit where it belongs. White hit the right switch there. Aerial powers, big threes in the moments that begged for them. Not flawless overall, but the timing was pure chef's kiss. Natasha Howard didn't have her rhythm. Fine. She still hit the boards, wrestled with size, and did the doty work that never trends. Bree Turner did her part, and more importantly, never hurt them. Sometimes the best thing you can say about a rotation piece is no disasters. Tonight, that carried weight. Now the chaos, because it was chaos. The Fever missed layups like they feared the glass. The Sparks passed it straight into the seats. For stretches, it looked like everyone played in wet socks. But who survives in mud? The team that's tougher. The one that shrugs at a 13-11 quarter and still talks on every switch. The one that admits we can't hit a shot right now, so we'll rebound and guard like the rents on the line. That was Indiana. And Caitlin Clark. She didn't just clap politely twice. She was loud, animated, and fully on brand for year two. She screamed for pace when things dragged. She kept barking matchups from the sideline. She warned teammates to cool it with the ref chatter before their wallets got lighter. After the buzzer, her expression said everything. Relief, pride, and just enough edge to remind people the standards aren't slipping. This isn't rookie shine anymore. She's a second-year star with a louder voice. She demands more, and she makes sure everyone hears it. That's the piece critics overlook. Leadership doesn't disappear just because you're not the one drilling the dagger. Clark controls tempo even off the bench. What to run, who to free, where to flow when the first action dies. Her sideline coaching carried receipts tonight. When the Fever kept forcing drives into traffic, you could see her chopping at the air. Kick, swing, second side. And sure enough, the crunch time dagger 3 came from a crisp second side touch after the first action stalled. That's culture. Sparks notes because context matters. Ajura Stevens was a force on the glass and in short roll. Cam Brink's minutes became swing minutes. Her reach warped Indiana's angles and forced ball fakes. The Fever still cracked it by dragging the Sparks into scramble. Late shot clock. Get it to Boston early or let Sims round the corner and drag weak side help. Simple math. Force 2 on the ball and play behind it. Ugly, sure, but effective. Officiating. Let's put it kindly. There was plenty of let them play energy. Kelsey Mitchell ate enough forearms to fill a film reel. Clark told teammates to save the tweets and fines for tomorrow. Sydney Coulson cracked a joke about already being fined and somehow made half of WNBA Twitter spit out water. Funny. Very helpful, too. Yes, because that tension was ready to boil. The Fever won by not letting whistles steal the storyline. Coaching tweaks stood out. White tightened the rotation. Some fans won't love that, especially with Michaela Timson and Chloe BBY holding DNPS. But in a street fight, coaches chase trust. White leaned on players who were barking on defense and throwing bodies around. She also ditched the pretty sets and leaned into empty corner pick and roll with a shooter lifted weak side. Cleaner looks, fewer mistakes. When shots won't fall, fewer choices matter. One more thing on Boston. The screens. Broadcast crews rarely spotlight it, but she flipped her screen at the last heartbeat and pinned the Sparks guard on Odyssey's hip. That half step meant the difference between a smothered pull-up and the perfect rhythm 3 that swung everything. Bigs who screen with intention steal ugly games. She did. Now about that winning ugly tag. Own it. Last season the Fever dropped these. A shaky whistle, a blown layup, 2 wasted trips. Game gone. This year they chase down loose balls, sink the irritating free throws, and grind out a 1-point win on the road. That's progress. Pretty wins live on highlight reels. Ugly wins right seed lines. Zoom out. The Fever are stacking habits that hold when shots won't. Rebound together. Hit the floor first. Ignore the refs. Don't switch just to escape boredom. Talk through screens. If you need a clean motto for tonight, no hero ball. Only hero plays. Sims drilling the big 3. Hero play. Boston sealing deep. Taking the bump and finishing hero play. Lexi closing space with a face that looks like it went 3 rounds against a heavy bag. Hero play. Now to the part everybody's waiting on. What did Caitlin refuse to hold back? 2 things, standard and expectation. She called the offense out for crawling the ball up after makes. She slammed the pace button again and again. She barked for quick feeds into Boston instead of dribbling 5 seconds and letting the defense load up. And at the horn, she went right to Odyssey, tapped her temple, then her chest. Translation: be sharp and be fearless. Keep both. That's not filler. That's a star sharpening another star. There's a playoff layer, too. The Fever had to take this one to protect their slot and tiebreak math. Beating the Sparks in LA with your second-best scorer ice cold. That's a seed shift. It also plants a message in the locker room. The identity isn't pretty shots. It's grit. If Clark steps back into a team already defending, rebounding, and closing, the runway gets short for whoever pulls them. Quick hits, turnovers. Indiana flipped chaos into 23 points. That was the separator when the layups kept vanishing. Second chance White. Boston and crew punished ball watchers. Nobody leaked out early. Winning detail. Free throws in a brickfest. Free points are currency. Indiana pocketed just enough. Late game composure. Sims looked like she ordered the moment straight off a menu. No panic, steady footwork, pure release. For those craving shiny stats, fine. Boston's 22 and 11 tell a slice. But her screening angles and deep seals shouted louder than the buckets. Sims' line pops, yet her reads after the catch, shoot, drive, kick, are why it held. And Clark's no holding back wasn't about numbers. It was accountability. She's in year 2 now. The bar's higher. The voice carries stronger. The excuses shrink. Good. Pick it apart if you want. The third quarter stalls, the wasted drives, the missed bunnies that you're not wrong. But the only thing that matters in late August is can you win when your jumper betrays you. Tonight the Fever said yes. That carries, that ages well. That's the type of win you recall when the bracket lands and a top seed looks over and mutters, "Oh no, not them." Final thought on Sims. Every team needs a fearless guard who snacks on pressure. She gave them that. Final thought on Boston. Every contender needs a big who erases extra chances. She gave them that. Final thought on Clark. Every franchise needs a star who demands more even in victory. She gave them that. Loud and Clay. Call it ugly. The Fever call it progress. And since standings track only letters and not style points, the only letter that counts got stamped. W. And here's what people often miss about nights like this. The ripple travels through the league. When Indiana steals one on the road, it doesn't just pad the column, it reshapes the playoff grid. The Sparks believe they had it sealed. Drop a home game to a team minus its superstar, that's a gut punch. Suddenly, the rest of the league is scanning the schedule twice. Wait, do we still have Indiana coming? Because ugly or not, the Fever are learning how to grab games that used to slip away. Playoff positioning is where it gets real. A win like this doesn't just push Indiana forward, it drags somebody else back. You can already feel rival fan bases simmering. We were supposed to catch them slipping with Clark sidelined. Nope. Odyssey Sims had other ideas. Boston had other ideas. That single seed line shift can mean facing a juggernaut in round 1 or making noise in the bracket. These are the margins that matter. Now, flip it to media spin, because you know it's coming. Tomorrow's headlines will scream, Fever steal one in LA. But if you stayed for every possession, you know nothing was stolen. They earned it, grind by grind. National media loves looping Clark's highlight reel. But tonight reminded everyone, she's part of a rising machine, not a one-woman act. Don't be surprised if the same critics yelling overhype realize that even on quiet nights, her presence bends the game around her. Now let's talk growth. Last season, a night like this would have unraveled. Mitchell cold. Howard stuck. No Caitlin to save it. That's a 12-point loss. Easy. Fast forward to now. They bend but never break. Sims takes the shot. Boston owns the glass. Role players deliver just enough while Clark raises the bar past. At least we tried. That's program building work. That's how you shift from lottery team to legit threat. And while we're here, credit the Fever faithful. Flying to LA isn't cheap, but you could hear Indiana voices echoing through the arena. That matters. Players draw from it. Refs sense it. Opponents despise it. The Fever aren't just growing on the floor, they are stretching their presence in every arena they touch. That's the signal of franchises turning the corner. Final angle, respect. Wins like this demand it. Opposing coaches now underline Indiana on the schedule with real caution. Opposing players stop treating the Fever like a light jog. And the haters? They go silent for at least 24 hours, which is always funny to watch because nothing kills overhyped talk faster than results. And tonight's result, a road win minus your star against a playoff-level team. That's not hype, that's progress. So sure, call it ugly, call it messy, call it whatever lets you sleep. Indiana will just call it another win. And at the end of the night, when standings post, one thing matters. The Fever keep climbing. And Caitlin Clark made it clear the bar's only climbing higher. Ugly game. Beautiful close. Odyssey nailed the shot. Boston supplied the muscle. And Caitlin lifted the standard. That's a grown-up road win. Your turn. Who gets the game ball and why? Drop it in comments. Smash like if you live for winning nasty. Subscribe for more Fever breakdowns, clips, and post-game fire. Year 2, Caitlin's Not Hey for Cute.